welcome to Round the Clock Frights. I'm Josh.
I'm Brian.
I'm Thor.
And for those of you who are unfamiliar with our channel, we started making video reviews about 3 years ago. But the reason we stopped is because we just had some scheduling problems and we wanted to find a more permanent location, which, moving into a new house with a fireplace, I think we found a good spot. So this is where we're going to be doing all of our video reviews.
I'm their house guest.
Yes.
Always. Always.
Yes, our very special guest. And so this is where we're going to be doing our video reviews from now on. There's not really going to be like a schedule. We're just going to upload videos like whenever we want. Okay. So as far as like this year in horror, I think it's been pretty decent so far. We've seen a couple of good ones together.
Yeah.
A couple of new ones and a couple of ones that we could have not seen.
I will say the best horror movie that I think I've seen so far this year is without a doubt the one that made my skin crawl the most. Was Tyler Perry's A Madea Family Funeral. That was, without a doubt, the scariest movie experience I've had all year.
It's
probably
just not your aesthetic.
Scariest movie ever made.
Absolutely.
It's just not your aesthetic. I know plenty of people that think it's hilarious.
You know what they should have called that movie? They should have called it Get Out, Tyler Perry. Anyway, so we're all pretty much in agreement that Jordan Peele's Us is actually the best one.
It's also the best film I've seen so far this year, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic sophomore effort. But what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be talking about upcoming horror movies. 2019 looks very exciting. So we're going to go and get started with our list. I just got to pull it up real quick. Starting from the top, the first film that we can talk about is Brightburn.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on the trailer for Brightburn?
It looks like Zack Snyder's Superman, except they actually are playing his evilness straight.
I was going to say, I mean, we already had a Superman horror movie. It was called Man of Steel.
And Batman v Superman for that.
Thor, what did you...
actually kind of liked,
Well, that's because you're...
Anyways... Brightburn looks extremely interesting. The idea of taking that hero that almost has godlike powers and asking the question of what would it have been like if he had been evil.
Mm-hmm. Which I know they've addressed before in comics. I know in a couple of the comic books, Superman has turned evil.
Usually through red kryptonite, or it's an alternative dimension. But him just being evil, feeling that he's above us.
They tried to do that with the nightmare sequence in Batman v Superman, but for me at least that did not work at all.
Not really.
No, and the fact that James Gunn is producing is very exciting for me personally, because knowing James Gunn, knowing how he started out with Trauma, and before he got really big, he made an independent horror movie called Slither.
I've been meaning to see
Slither.
I've been meaning to see Slither.
Oh, it's a blast.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's basically a campy throwback to those 50s alien invasion movies.
Oh no, everything I've seen it looks awesome.
I mean,
it's a great movie, but I'm a little bit curious how we're going to have a little bit of, at least a sprinkling of James Gunn's signature comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because him playing straight horror, I'm a little bit nervous with, because he can be a very intense director.
Well, even I think from what we've seen in the trailer, I think we've already seen some of that wink humor that has been present in other James Gunn movies. There's a scene where he's approaching like a lawnmower,
and he sticks his hand in, and it breaks the lawnmower.
There's another scene where this.
It seems more like dark humor, because the clips I've seen of Slither, it seems like James Gunn's kind of more thing is very tongue-in-cheek in that movie.
It is very tongue-in-cheek.
Whereas this one sort of looks like just sort of a little more absurdist, dark humor, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think also what we're going to see is that dismantling of the hero archetype. So what we're going to see is we're going to see somebody who gets bullied. We've already seen some of that happen in the trailer. We're going to see him take it, quote unquote, too far. The crushing the little girl's hand is in the trailer. We're going to see some more of that stuff. And we're just going to see him really spiral out of control as a person, but without anybody to put any kind of reins on him or any really self-guiding moral compass.
Right. A deconstruction of the whole superhero origin story.
Which I'm all for, personally.
Intentionally horrific.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. I think I'm very interested in watching it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I'm a little bit hesitant just because I know James Gunn as a director. Sometimes he is spot on with his timing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he can be a little bit off.
He's not directing this movie. The director of this movie, his name is David Uravesky, I believe his name is.
Have we seen?
I believe it was
he made one independent horror movie before this called The Hive.
Yeah, I believe it's I believe it's either James Gunn's brother or
his
cousin.
I believe it's his brother's the screenplay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
see, The Hive still had its own issues too. So, I'm hoping for the best.
Right.
But with like most horror movies, I'm usually pretty cautious, optimistically so, but still pretty cautious.
I mean, either way, it looks like they're sticking to their guns. All right, moving on. Second movie I've been really on the fence about. It's Blumhouse's new movie called Ma.
From the director of The Help.
Sorry.
No, seriously.
I know.
Octavia Spencer.
Okay, so for me, Octavia Spencer, I love Octavia Spencer. She is an amazing actress. She is so charismatic. This is going to be for me just like Insomnia was when it was the first movie where you had Robin Williams turn into a bad guy. Nowadays, you
I thought
think...
that was 1 hour photo.
No, Insomnia came before 1 hour photo.
Oh,
Really? I believe they were the same year, but I do think Insomnia came before 1 hour photo.
Okay.
Yeah, so
but
this was the
same
first
time
time.
frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the first time that we saw a beloved actor be the bad guy, and you were just praying for a twist that wouldn't have him be the bad guy. But this just seems to be taking a beloved actress, and it makes me sad.
Well, I did read an interview actually today. I read an interview where the director knew exactly who he wanted to cast in this part, and he called Octavia Spencer up. And what she specifically said was that she was getting sick and tired of all these period piece dramas, and she wanted to do something really fucked up.
Which,
and so he
good
said,
for her.
Hey!
good for her.
Yes.
She's expanding her range, and
People didn't get that Robin Williams could play such an amazing role as he did in Insomnia and 24-hour photo until somebody gave him a chance.
Well, that's the thing, because comedy is actually harder than
very much so.
Your timing has to be completely on point, and even when you ad-lib, you gotta be aware.
So Octavia Spencer, I could buy her in this.
I totally could buy her. I just don't want to.
The quality of the movie could go either way, but as far as her performance, I'm sure she'll be good.
I'm sure she's going to be a slam dunk. The problem is it's going to be with the rest of the cast. Lately, we've been introduced to a lot of horror movies where you're kind of cheering for the bad guy because the protagonists are basically pieces of shit that you're like, okay, please kill them. Just die.
I have something to say about that. I am a little bit worried that they spoiled too much in the trailer because it looks as if what happens is that she interacts with these kids, she lets them party in her house, and then she becomes absolutely obsessed with them. The rest of the trailer pretty much turns into a montage of her murdering these kids in horrible ways. And there's a shot in the trailer where she's basically surrounded by all the
dead bodies.
Now, is that going to be like one of the last scenes of the movie? Because they pretty much played all their cards like right there in the trailer.
And I hate it when trailers give it away.
Yeah.
The thing
horror trailers do that a lot.
They do that
nowadays.
a lot.
Slenderman.
Well, actually, no,
let's not bring that up. Slenderman was so boring. I literally had trouble not falling asleep. It was terrible.
They cut out so much from the original Slenderman trailer, though. That they
did.
Actually, didn't show anything.
That's true.
Well, that was a nothing movie already. What was there to spoil?
No matter what happens, though, Ma will not be worse than Slenderman.
I don't think anything could be worse than Slenderman, to be honest.
Well, there might be one coming out later this year.
It's not going to make me worse.
I think I know what this is.
Oh, no.
So, a horror remake that I've been very pessimistic about, which is Child's Play.
Okay, so the only thing that's going to be good about this movie, and I'm calling it right now, is Mark Hamill.
I'd argue Aubrey Plaza, but then again, Aubrey Plaza equals automatic points in a movie for me.
That's for you.
Actually, come to think of it, Brian Tyree Henry as well. So that's two things.
They've got some interesting people, but again, the premise with Chucky, it's such a archetype. And it's that idea that the things that we should be safe around were not, or, it's that flip of that safety. And you have to have, if if Chucky is not nailed, if Chucky is not something that we can buy into being this homicidal, crazy, sociopathic killer, then honestly, it's going to be camp and comedy no matter who's in it.
It looks as if they're not going with the angle where Chucky is a doll possessed by the spirit of a dead serial killer. It looks more as if they're going with just the typical possessed robot angle. Which not only have we seen 1,000 times before, it makes the character less interesting because, especially when you have Brad Dourif playing the character,
oh my gosh,
it's immensely entertaining. Brad Dourif is the reason why I kept going back to those movies.
Really, that's why you went back, is because Chucky was such an engaging creature, and even though you completely and totally did not believe that a doll could beat a teacher to death with a ruler, bring it, Chucky.
Yeah,
I'm still like going, okay, how much more can we do here?
From what I've seen, if they're really just gonna go with the technology turns evil angle, then really, what's the point? It loses so much of the charm.
Then the only point would be seeing what Mark Hamill can do with the character.
And I'm sure he'll be good at it.
Oh, he'll be. I'm sure he'll be amazing. The problem is that how many movies have we seen lately that they've taken these iconic 80s slashers, and because of recasting them, they recast them with people that we were incredibly excited for them to see them as. And then they took away the thing that we were excited about. For instance, the guy who played Freddy Krueger in the new Nightmare on Elm Street series,
Jackie Earle Haley.
He has an amazing voice, and the thing that was scary about Freddy is, oh my God, he would so make fun of you, burn you, torture you while he was hunting you down. He amped up the fear. Robert Englund did an amazing job with this. I was so looking forward to hearing Jackie, especially after seeing Watchmen. And seeing him as Rorschach.
Oh, he was great.
He was the best part of that movie.
Amazing Rorschach.
Okay? When I heard he was going to be, the new Freddy, I was like, oh my God, yes. And then they had him quiet for pretty much the entire movie.
I don't think that's necessarily him, though. That's more just the material he has to work with. Which, I think is...
Totally.
Which, granted, I think that's just... That makes it all the more frustrating. Like, why would you not give this guy the best material you can give him?
Thank you. Totally agree.
Him and Rooney Mara both deserve better in that movie.
They totally did.
Brian, let me ask you a question, though. So if they don't give Aubrey Plaza enough to do in this movie, like if her character is underwritten or if she doesn't get enough screen time, are you going to be just disappointed with this Child's Play remake? I know that's the main reason you're seeing it is because of Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I feel like Aubrey Plaza is just so inherently charismatic and charming that you could give her literally nothing and she would be able to make it work. But if they underuse her, yes, I'm going to be pissed.
See, underusing her and underusing Mark Hamill, that's going to make the movie completely and totally terrible.
No. And I would put that on the movie.
Exactly. Not on Mark Hamill, not on Audrey. It would be on the writers, the directors.
Why are you wasting these guys?
Thank you. And the thing that I'm really scared of with a redo of Chucky, like they've been redoing so many 80s slashers, is that they are going to waste the talent that they got. They got people that can really knock this out of the park and make it amazing.
Alright, so number 4 is a movie that, again, I'm not entirely excited about, but it's Annabelle Comes Home. The sequel to Annabelle and Annabelle.
I have not seen a single one of these movies.
It's also a sequel to The Conjuring.
Yes.
I've seen the Conjuring movies.
Okay, so basically the premise of this is that somebody is watching the Warrens' little girl, and they go into the haunted room that has all of their artifacts and starts messing with stuff, and Annabelle gets out. Could it possibly have some good stuff to it? Depends on the acting, depends on the screenplay, depends on the direction, it depends on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And this is still James Wan doing it, right?
He's producing it.
But he's not directing it this time. Okay, so see, that's where I get nervous. Because if you look at a lot of really amazing series, when the director stepped out...
Well, he hasn't directed any of the Annabelle movies.
I thought he did.
No, the first...
He only directed the Conjuring movies. movies.
The first Annabelle was directed
Well,
by...
I'm
hold on.
considering this a Conjuring movie, not an Annabelle movie.
The first Annabelle was actually directed by his director of photography. The second Annabelle Creation, was directed by David S. Sandberg.
Okay.
Wait, really?
Yeah, who would later go on to do Shazam. Yeah.
And who did Lights Out?
Yes. Yeah. So...
See, and at the same time, I was considering this more of the Conjuring universe rather than the next Annabelle, so I was hoping that James Wan would be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that, and to my point, is that a lot of the times when series or franchises lose steam is when the director steps away from the camera and becomes a producer. Think about Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher.
Mm-hmm.
That happens with TV a lot too. Usually when showrunners switch.
Oh, like when they switched showrunners on Daredevil.
Oh.
Yeah. Or I was thinking the brief season that Dan Harmon wasn't running Community.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
So did a lot of people.
Or when...
Dan Harmon called it the gas leak season.
But yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because if James Wan isn't doing it, then it's like, okay, and you're producing it now. And I get that, but it makes me nervous because a lot of the times when the director doesn't have a clear vision, it falls flat. And I don't want to see that to The Conjuring. I mean, the Nun is okay.
So yeah, between these two killer doll movies, Child's Play and What Comes Home, I think I'm looking forward to the only...
Let's have a movie where Annabelle and Chucky go at it.
No. Between Child's Play and Animal Comes Home, the only killer toy movie I'm looking forward to this year is Toy Story 4.
Yes.
How perfect is it that opens the same weekend as Child's
Play?
Play?
After the kids see Toy Story 4, they can go to the next theater to see Child's Play.
And that will completely and totally ruin their childhood.
The ideal double feature.
You do realize that Child's Play was one of the movies that I saw right before I got, I was at Disneyland, and I went to It's a Small World. And the ride shut down.
I mean, It's a Small World is already terrifying. Let's be real here.
But just imagine seeing Trilogy of Terror and Child's Play and a couple of other When Dolls Attack movies and then getting trapped inside It's a Small World because the ride shut down.
God.
I was traumatized. Thanks a lot, Disney.
And you see where she ended up now, so...
It works.
All right, moving on to the next movie. Okay, oh my god, this one I am super excited to talk about, especially with Brian here, because we just saw the trailer.
Is this the one that we saw John Wick?
Yes.
Oh.
And we're talking about the new A24 movie from the director of Hereditary.
Midsommar.
Okay.
My coworkers and I were just talking about this movie.
I am looking at this. This is going to have so much of not the new Wicker Man. Oh, the bees. But the old...
It's not the bees.
It's not the bees. But the old Wicker Man.
It's not a bee movie.
But
every time you say bee, it gets faster.
So I have a couple of questions for Brian about this one.
Okay.
So I took Brian to see Hereditary last year, which was from the same director. And Brian said afterwards that it was one of the most disturbing things that he had ever seen.
It was.
But let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
Does it look as if this director might top himself with Midsommar after the success of Hereditary? What do you think, Brian?
Hard to say. It looks different.
Okay.
Which with a sophomore feature, I feel like is what you want to do because I feel like as a director you want to show people that you have range because I feel like to some extent Jordan Peele was just able to do that with Us, which was amazing. Fairly different than what he did with Get Out.
Yeah, no, I think Us is a great example of a sophomore effort. And judging by the trailer, it looks as if he's done the same with Midsommar. The main actress, Florence Pugh.
Yes,
she's really good.
She was great in Fighting with My Family. Yeah.
See, I knew I recognized her from somewhere, but I didn't remember where.
Yeah, she very, very promising actress.
And this director already has like a style going for him. He loves to film things in the center of the frame, kind of like Wes Anderson.
Oh, love Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
He's
my homeboy.
I think that aesthetic is actually going to lend to the creepiness because Wes Anderson loves to frame things perfectly. Everything is perfectly symmetrical, perfectly lit. Everything is so perfect that it goes back to what you were saying earlier.
It looks too perfect, and that's what makes it so unsettling.
Exactly. Midsommar, unsettling. Real quick.
This one's probably my most anticipated for the rest of the year. If we're talking horror movies.
Not me.
What's yours? The next one that we're going to talk about, which is actually my most anticipated of the year too. It's a sequel to a little film from 2017, and it is
Chapter 2.
Okay, now very.
Oh my god.
Okay, now very briefly.
Looks good.
Now very briefly, I really liked the first film from 2017.
Yes.
I was very pleasantly surprised by it as well.
I thought Bill Skarsgård, as someone who read the original text and is familiar with the original book, I thought Bill Skarsgård was much closer to the spirit of Pennywise than Tim Curry was. I know you disagree with me, but here's the thing.
I do, but I think it's a personal preference.
To me, Tim Curry always came across as a creepy guy in a clown costume.
Krusty the Clown,
basically. Exactly. Bill Skarsgård was otherworldly. You never believed for a second that he was human, but he had this alien.
But see, that was the point of Pennywise, is that it was camouflage, it was mimicry to get you to let your guard down. And Bill Skarsgård, you would not let your guard down around him.
See, my 2 cents is that clowns are already terrifying to begin with, so it doesn't make much of a difference.
They really are.
And real quick, we're going to get to the actual movie, but I have to tell Thor's story.
Is this what I think it is?
This is a conversation between...
Oh, no.
This was a conversation between me and Brian.
Anytime they have a conversation, it's never good.
When we made our best movies in 2017, it was on my list. And I mentioned how they were setting this sequel in modern day. It's taking place in 2016. And what I was afraid they were going to do is modernize Pennywise.
Oh,
so they're going to give him the grill, they're going to give him the cornrows, they're going to have him... He was going to turn into
Pennywise.
He was going to turn into Jared Leto from Suicide Squad. He was going to be this dated
Juggalo Joker.
Oh, you want to play with my toys, boys? I'm Pennywise the Clown.
Okay.
There's no reason I blocked this from my memory, Josh.
There really is. Thank you for blocking it from your memory. Because honestly, to do that kind of portrayal would just be wrong and not.
And actually, for that matter, I want to block Juggalo Joker from my mind as well.
Seriously, that's no. But I am looking forward to Chapter 2.
Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader,
yes.
James McAvoy.
Okay, when we first started talking about Chapter 2, it was right after we watched Chapter 1, and we mentioned James McAvoy, we mentioned Jessica Chastain, we mentioned Bill Hader in the roles that
I'll see Bill Hader in anything at this point.
And honestly, I am so happy that they cast it the way that we were talking about, with these personalities that are going to be able to bring the story to life. The only one that I'm disappointed that we didn't get is that we mentioned how we wanted Jerry O'Connell even as a side role.
From Kangaroo Jack.
No, from Stand By Me.
And also Kangaroo Jack.
Most famously Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, God. And he was also in Sliders. He was also in a lot of other things.
And Kangaroo Jack.
Was that a White Castle movie, Sliders? The mini hamburgers? Sliders.
No, White Castle was the same... no, White Castle. No.
Pennywise goes to White Castle
was Harold and Kumar. No, it was a old sci-fi series that basically you went to different planet Earths within the multiverse.
Interesting. Okay.
It had John Rhys Davies in it.
Love him. But in Chapter 2, we saw the trailer. Brian saw it for the first time recently.
Yeah.
There were certain things. There were certain things from the novel that I'm looking forward to. One they've already showcased in his trailer, which is the moment between adult Beverly and his old woman.
Straight from the book.
That scene in the trailer was an amazing buildup of tension.
That was a creepy scene.
That was
gave me the
masterful right there.
And spoiler alerts for those who haven't read the book, the old woman does turn out to be Pennywise.
Well, we see that in the trailer.
Exactly.
But the rest of the trailer... It had some very creepy shots. I loved the reference to Carrie.
Yes.
There was that shot of Beverly in a big pool of blood. That could also be a reference to The Shining.
It could also just be a reference back to the first chapter.
That's
because part of the reason why she was
there was that scene.
in part of her trauma, not just in the movie but also in the book, was her becoming quote unquote a woman and getting her period for the first time, which happened in the book as well, and it was this big traumatic thing for her, which is why you ended up with the blood-soaked bathroom the way it happened.
It also looks as if the director, Andy Muschietti, has listened to some of the criticisms, because there were some people who thought there were too many jump scares in the first movie. I was fine with them, but this trailer
was fine.
This trailer, it looks as if he's building up the tension more in these scenes.
Honestly, you have to earn a jump scare.
Yeah.
And
Jordan Peele does that.
Excellently, both in Us and in Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, It Chapter 2 is my most anticipated for the rest of the year. It's in front of Star Wars Episode 9. And, bring it on.
I cannot wait to see that movie.
It's going to be good.
I'm usually not the one that gets scared during horror movies. I'm like, it was okay. And these guys, what? It was terrifying. And during the first It, Brian will attest to it. I had my knees up, my popcorn was in my hand.
I can vouch for Thor.
So, moving on, after the most anticipated movie of the year, this next one is my least anticipated movie of the year. And it's because it's pretty much my worst nightmare come to life.
Which one?
And that movie is Alexandra Aha's Crawl.
Okay, so the problem with this one is everybody wants to be.
Fun fact: this is a biopic from the 6 months that Josh lived in Florida.
I was in Florida during Hurricane Irma, and I was terrified that an alligator was going to come into my apartment and kill me.
Mama, another gator got in the house!
Another gator! Give me that shovel! Monster Inc.
Okay, so the problem with Crawl and a lot of these other movies is that you have people trying to recreate the tension and the horror and the buy-in that Steven Spielberg got with Jaws.
They're chasing the high of Jaws.
Yeah, they're definitely chasing the high of Jaws. And even though I know I annoy you when I tell you that Steven Spielberg is
You don't believe
overrated.
this for a second. You do not believe that for a second.
I will say that as good as whatever director they try to get from this, it's not going to be Steven.
No,
So
the last thing I'll say about it is I just can't do movies about killer alligators or killer crocodiles because I think it goes back to me seeing a clip from the 1980 movie Alligator, directed by Louis Teague. There's a scene where a little boy jumps into a swimming pool and gets eaten by an alligator.
dude, who doesn't check their pool first?
No, I mean, but that scene just mentally scarred me for life, and I can't do movies about gators.
Well, the thing with that is I'm not looking forward to this, but for completely the opposite reason. I love alligators. I think that they're fascinating creatures. Mm-hmm. They have a natural antibiotic in their blood, which is why they don't get sick and die from septic shock. Mm-hmm. They have valves in their heart that can redirect their blood towards their brain and leave the rest of their body without getting blood to it. These are fascinating, amazing creatures, and I think that this movie is just going to villainize them. And do like Alligator did with you, and we'll have another generation of kids that just, alligators are bad and evil, and they're trying to kill us. And look what Jaws did to great whites.
Yeah.
And for those who are wondering, Brian was looking at the credits of this movie, and apparently Sam Raimi is producing it.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the only reason why I watch it, because I absolutely adore
If it's
Sam
tongue in cheek,
Raimi.
I'll go.
Yeah. So, Crawl, I will be crawling away from.
I'll go watch it, but
can't do it.
I'll not be expecting much, and you are going to probably have to go watch it with me. You made me watch Slender Man, and what was that? What was that other movie? Oh yeah, and The Strangers too. I'm still mad at you for that one.
You made me watch Truth or Dare.
And
you owe us at this point.
They're going to get back at me by making me watch Crawl.
I already got back at you by making you watch Tyler Perry.
I would say that makes us even.
No, you still owe me.
Moving on, we have 5 more movies to talk about.
Okay.
I'm not sure this is actually coming out this year, but it's Zombieland.
Yeah, it's coming out this year.
Zombieland Double Tap, the sequel
I
to
cannot
Zombieland.
wait. That is going to be an amazing movie. I want to see how they're going to get Bill Murray back in it, because I've heard he's back in it.
Makes sense. As a
he was already
He died in the first one.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be definitely a throwback to the people that loved the first Zombieland.
And I love the first Zombieland.
Yeah, they got the old team back together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it going to be jarring for you guys to see these people who have become much bigger stars since then, like return for a franchise that
maybe a little bit,
like you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah. But that won't stop me, because I will watch Emma Stone in literally anything, because Emma Stone is my future wife.
And he's living in La La Land.
No, I'm not.
But the one thing that I will say, and this is something that a lot of actors,
she's my favorite.
That I don't like with a lot of actors is they forget where they came from. Zombieland was a huge motion picture for a lot of the people that were in it. I mean, yeah, there were Bill Murray and you know, there were some actors there that had already made a name for themselves. But some of the newer actors, Emma Stone, one of them, Abigail Breslin, they kind of got their start through Zombieland. They got them out there to other genres and other people and really spread their name. I like it when actors remember where they came from. And yeah, they probably negotiated very well on their pay and stuff like that, and I understand that. But I'm glad that they were like, you know what, doing this movie is important.
I'm very curious to see what they do with the story. I heard a rumor. This hasn't been confirmed, but I heard a rumor that somehow they're going to travel to different countries. Maybe, I don't know how they would do this, but I just heard
in search of Twinkies, damn it.
I second that.
Not snowballs. Snowballs.
Twinkies.
No, I'm Twinkies all the way.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with the story. You know,
but they're not Twinkies.
Okay.
No, the first one was just such a blast.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun to watch.
It's a fun movie.
It's one of the better zombie movies.
I would say, for me, probably the second best zombie movie of the past 10 years. My favorite zombie movie of the past 10 years is actually Train to Busan, a South Korean movie.
My favorite is still Shaun of the Dead.
Thank you. One. Yes.
But yeah, by the way, Train to Busan, we'll be talking about that in a future video because it is an amazing movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
But yeah, Zombieland 2, I'm looking forward to seeing these characters again. I hope they deliver.
I do too.
I hope it's good.
Alright. Next one is another Stephen King adaptation. It's Dr. Sleep.
Oh, that's right. That is coming out this year.
The sequel to The Shining.
They changed the release date. It was supposed to come out in 2020, but they decided to push it or move it back.
Okay,
to this
so
year.
Move it up.
I am really curious about how they're going to do this. I know that the director has said that they would pay homage to Kubrick's version of The Shining, but I know that Stephen King hated that version because it completely took away from what he was trying to say in the book. And the thing is that Dr. Sleep continued what he was trying to say in the book, and so I'm wondering how they're going to marry that with.
Who's directing this one again?
Mike Flanagan.
Oh.
And we actually, the very first video we did was talking about a Mike Flanagan film, which was Ouija, Origin of Evil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And he's done a good job. He did a really good job with Ouija, Origin of Evil. It was actually better than the first one, which is rare in any sequel.
He's a very dependable director. I mean, if you've seen Gerald's Game, if you've seen...
He did a really good job with that.
If you've seen Before I Wake, which I actually enjoyed. I know it's considered one of his lesser efforts, but I liked Before I Wake. He's a director who understands tension and atmosphere.
So I think if he can keep it very atmospheric, I think he's going to get a good win on this one. However, Kubrick did not necessarily... I don't know. It's like trying to...
I love the Kubrick Shining. Sort of my perspective, I love the Kubrick Shining. I also love the Stephen King Shining for different reasons. I think both are equally valid for different reasons.
I think my biggest problem with the Kubrick Shining is that Jack Nicholson's character starts off as an asshole and he just becomes a bigger asshole. In the book, it's much different. He's actually a more level-headed character.
I think the book succeeds on the empathy level in getting you to care about Jack Torrance. I think the movie succeeds in creating a very ominous, detached, clinical kind of perspective.
It's going to be interesting seeing how you're going to marry those two styles together.
We'll see.
To pay homage to both the source material as well as what can arguably be called one of the most iconic horror movies ever made.
The last thing I'll say about Dr. Sleep is I hope Mike Flanagan doesn't just try to replicate Kubrick's style, because for one,
how
could you?
Mike Flanagan is already a good director already, so he doesn't need to replicate.
Just do your own thing.
Just do his own thing.
Yeah, no, I hate it when directors try to do somebody else, it never comes out.
You can always tell that they're
take a look
imitating.
at that shot-for-shot replication of Psycho.
I think Gus Van Sant was doing that as a joke, though.
Yeah. And
It doesn't matter. It just fell flat. Even as a joke.
Again, the gas leak season of Community, where the showrunners were trying too hard to replicate Dan Harmon's style.
When they replaced Dan Harmon with a different showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's always about the vision. And if you don't have a clear vision or you're trying to replicate somebody else's vision, it's only going to come off as a fraud.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Dr. Sleep.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit kind of like, okay, where are they going to go with it? But I'm still looking forward to it. I mean, we've had great adaptations of Stephen King for not including The Dark Tower.
God.
His car broke down and he blamed it on the Dark Tower.
Yeah, my car broke down. I blamed it on the Dark Tower because the Dark Tower was freaking hindrance.
But at the same time, it Chapter 2, which I'm already calling it as a win, the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah,
I like
which
that.
honestly, Pet Cemetery,
that was decent.
King thought it would never get made. He thought it would never get published. He's like, okay, this is the darkest shit I can pull out of my head. He never thought it was going to get published. He threw it at a publisher because he wanted out of his contract.
Sometimes published is better.
Okay, Brian.
But
Brian just had the line.
Stephen King's been on a roll lately.
Brian. We can't ignore that. Brian just had the line of the evening. That was great.
That was really
Couldn't
good.
resist.
That was really good.
Okay. Thor.
Yes.
You're gonna love talking about this one.
Oh
Is
no!
The sharks are coming.
Oh no!
They're
No!
coming to get you, Thor.
No!
47 meters down 2.
We dragged Thor to the first one, and I don't think she's
still hate
ever
you for
forgiven
that.
us.
Like man-eating sharks, we dragged her into the movie theater, and she got devoured alive by 47 meters down. She hated that movie.
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why I hate that movie.
Okay.
It's stupid.
Go for it. I'll just listen.
The relationships were just not believable at all.
Hey, what about the
And
dialogue?
the dialogue
I'm
was
so
made me
cold.
want to stab myself in the ear. And I'm not into
A shark.
No.
It's attacking the cage.
And I'm sorry if you go
We're
out
not
on a
really
boat.
exaggerating here.
No, you're not. And if you go out on a boat and you see it rusted, rickety, and all that kind of stuff, don't get into a freaking shark's cage.
No.
Just there's this thing called common sense,
Especially-
and most horror movies that bad would be avoided with a little common sense.
Especially when the people on the boat taking you into shark-infested waters come across as complete scumbags.
Oh God, I was so afraid for them. I'm like going, don't.
Mandy Moore should have known better in that movie. That movie had some horrible writing. Anyway, the sequel.
And the girl in it, the blonde chick in it, that was what's her name? And if I'm right, that was the girl that plays in the originals on
What was it?
she plays, I think it's Claire Holt.
Oh.
Yes.
And she plays the sister, Rebecca, in or the originals, or did play them before the originals got canceled. And she was actually really good in the Vampire Diaries and the originals.
But
And Mandy Moore has been amazing in This Is Us. And it's like, why?
all right, well, we got 2 more movies to talk about.
Yeah.
This next one, I don't know if you guys have heard of this one, but it's from the director of The Witch.
Oh, I do know about this one. I am excited about this
It's
one.
called The Lighthouse, and here's another reason to be excited.
This just premiered at Cannes.
And the reviews are coming in, and it's, so far it's at 100% of Rotten Tomatoes. And
With a 9.4 rating.
here's what some of the critics are saying. Very few films can make you scared and excited at the same time. It's the best movie about bad roommates ever made, apart from Dumb and Dumber. Robert Eggers confirms his instant reputation as a master of the New England Gothic.
The Witch was so good.
The Witch was amazing.
It was amazing. It was a tour de force.
As far as I know about The Lighthouse, well, first it was shot in 35 millimeters.
Ooh.
It's black and white.
Daring. Okay.
Robert Pattinson has said it's 100% one of, if not the most intense shoots that he's ever been a part of.
See, and a lot of people right there would be like, okay, Robert Pattinson.
He's done some really good stuff since the Twilight films, though.
No, he's phenomenal in Good Time.
I've seen him in a lot of really good things.
Good Time, he's phenomenal in that.
But I'm holding out hope that this is going to continue his streak.
Oh, he's been on a roll.
The new Batman.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm on board with him as Batman fully.
One of the reviews for The Lighthouse did say that like certain character traits do lend themselves to Batman. The character that he plays in The Lighthouse is a good sign if he does get cast as Batman. That's what some of the reviews have been saying.
Okay, so that's the thing is that, let's see what he's got, what he brings. I'm excited because the director's aesthetic is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The Witch was unnerving.
It was.
For sure.
And I love
And Willem Dafoe's in this movie. Another plus.
Yeah, no, Willem Dafoe.
Absolutely.
Anything with Willem Dafoe. Antichrist, baby.
I'm not a fan of Antichrist. No Lars von Trier for me, thanks.
Lars von Trier is definitely
an acquired taste.
Thank you, yes.
To put it lightly.
But
Brian, Brian, you don't understand. I mean, do you not want to see a movie where Willem Dafoe gets his balls crushed by a rock and a female character cuts her own clitoris with a pair of scissors?
Oh, you're one to talk. You've seen a Serbian film.
That's because I was... Okay.
It's got you there.
I've got nothing to say about a Serbian film, but yeah.
Nobody has anything to say about a Serbian film because
I would be
about.
worried if you did have something to say about a Serbian film.
Yeah, just a little bit. But still, Willem Dafoe in that movie, you don't like Lars von Trier,
Antichrist.
He was freaking amazing. So anything.
Willem Dafoe's always good.
Boondock Saints.
I'm not a fan of Boondock Saints.
Spider-Man.
Seriously, we're talking Willem Dafoe and you bring up Spider-Man. I mean,
why
don't get
not?
me wrong, he was good.
Why not?
But Boondock Saints, he was amazing.
What do you have against Spider-Man?
Platoon stands right here.
Thank you.
Just saying.
Platoon is good.
Thank you. Brian is the middle ground here between Spider-Man and Antichrist.
Okay, so
I would more say the middle ground between Spider-Man and Boondock Saints because I'm freaking sick of Boondock Saints.
I love Boondock Saints. That's a great movie. Shut up.
Anyway, back to The Lighthouse. Robert Eggers, The Witch was his first movie, and he demonstrated such an amazing control over his craft.
He did.
The Witch felt like it was made by someone who has been making horror movies for decades.
Oh yeah.
They should have gotten it for Game of Thrones.
It was masterful.
Honestly,
it was masterful.
Sorry, I'm still upset about that.
But yeah, The Lighthouse.
Heck yes, bring it on.
I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, our last movie to talk about. This was actually Thor's idea.
Is this what I think it is?
It might be.
I'm definitely not keen on seeing this movie, but it's The Haunting of Sharon Tate.
I knew it.
I knew
it.
Okay, so let me just say that this movie is not something that I really am wanting to see because I think it's disrespectful. Here you have a woman that in real life was stalked, murdered. She was pregnant. She had a husband who, although he has had a let's say less than stellar life since then, that it was a tragedy.
This movie is an 8 on Metacritic.
And
an 8 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Oh, The Haunting of Sharon Tate. Oh, you're right.
To take that.
Yep. What's it on Rotten Tomatoes?
13%.
It's higher on Rotten Tomatoes than it is on Metacritic.
But see, to take this trauma that was real and that this poor woman lived through and turn it into she's either insane or it's genuinely a haunting before she's killed. It's just...
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the best way to approach the material.
Not really.
No.
I mean,
turning
seriously.
such a tragic event into a
clickbait?
Into a stupid haunting story.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, I mean, does anyone care about spoilers? Apparently at the end, they pull a Quentin Tarantino and she actually survives the Manson family. I think she actually kills them. And to top it all off, she actually has a voiceover where she says, "Do you think that we are able to rewrite our own history?"
Oh my! Okay.
That's what I've heard.
I have to see this
Seriously,
movie now.
okay.
This does not sound real. I have to see this to believe this.
I have a problem with where they're going with it. Don't get me wrong. I love Tarantino, and I love that whole let's twist history around and get revenge.
Like an Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious
In Inglourious Basterds, it was purposeful, though.
Yeah.
Django Unchained as well, but you're taking something that one is in living memory, and it's not something that happened to people that we don't know. This is something that there are people still alive who went through this, who were affected with it.
Dealing with the trauma.
Exactly.
The things about Inglourious Basterds is, A, that movie was cathartic because it was getting to see Jews kill Nazis. The second thing, it was meta. It was sort of weirdly implicating the viewer in what it was doing. And 3, it wasn't actually based on any specific real people.
That, and it was more of a general, this is what's going on in the world.
It's more commenting. It was more commenting on, like, propaganda, essentially.
Right. This, taking somebody...
It's exploitation.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's pure exploitation.
Tasteless bullshit.
It's a
awful,
steamy...
tasteless.
It's a steaming pile of shit.
To be honest, I really don't want to support, and usually I'm like, hey, even if it's terrible, I'll go and I'll watch your movie. I'll support you because, you know what, I love the genre. I really don't even want to watch this. I do not want to spend my money on rewarding the people that made this. Don't get me wrong. I think Hilary Duff is great. Just, this was tasteless. This was not, you didn't need to do this.
It wasn't made for the right reasons.
No.
It was made to exploit.
Speaking of Tarantino, I know that he has a movie coming out in which Sharon Tate is a character, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
At
least that'll be more interesting.
Okay, so Tarantino knows how to do a let's twist history and get revenge for the person that actually was injured.
Right.
It's a very, very difficult line to tread and do that without coming off as exploitation or I don't trust this director to be able to manage that.
This director, the director of Haunting of Sharon Tate, is no Tarantino.
If you're going to do something like this, you better be on the level of a Tarantino to be able to do it.
Either that or, but Tarantino knows how far to push things and how far to pull back on things.
Absolutely.
What things to highlight and what things to lessen. It's a tightrope, and this guy, he's not going to be able to walk it.
No.
So, guys, those are some upcoming horror movies that we got through. We got through a good amount. There's something we didn't talk about. There's Rob Zombie's new 3 from Hell, sequel to Devil's Rejects, which I don't really know much about, but it's Rob Zombie. It could go either way. It could be Halloween 2, or it could be a Lords of Salem, which I personally liked.
Lords of Salem was good.
Are You Afraid of the Dark is getting a movie.
And Scary Stories.
Yeah, that's also getting a movie.
I forgot those were coming out this year.
Those two, I will have to say those two, being a 90s child, being somebody who read the Scary Stories by Alan Schwartz, watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, I am really anxious to see these. I think it's going to be fun.
Guillermo del Toro producing.
Anything with Guillermo del Toro, I will watch.
Wonderful human being.
But Devil's Backbone. You want to talk ratcheting up tension and somebody who earns a scare?
Yeah.
Devil's Backbone, he got you to scare yourselves.
Kronos.
So
thank you very much for joining us in our discussion. We're very excited to make more of these videos.
Heck yeah.
We're going to be making video reviews for all these movies. I'm sure we'll each have our own thoughts either way.
Yep.
They will not get me to see Crawl.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
They may have made me watch The Room several times.
Oh, come on. The Room is a masterpiece.
The Room is a masterpiece.
Not The Room with
Brie Larson.
The Room, drop the just Room.
Cleaner.
But
we're talking about The Room
I dragged
with
you to
Tommy
see.
Wiseau.
I dragged you to see a Tyler Perry movie. Crawl will be nothing compared to that.
A Madea Family Funeral, like I said, that was the scariest horror movie
Crawl
I've seen.
will be nothing compared to that. You can take Crawl.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll crawl out of the theater, like I said. Anyway, once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you like this, you can go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And, as always...
We're back, baby.
Have a good night's sleep.
Have a good night's sleep. Boys and ghouls.